Hey, welcome back to Album April. It's April 24th, and today I listened to Red by Taylor Swift. I realized at some point this month that I have featured 4 acts on every single Album April so far. The Beatles, Pink Floyd, Radiohead, and Taylor Swift. One of these things is not like the others. And of course, she picks this month in order to drop a huge double album. Maybe I'll review Torture Poets Department next year. No promises, though. But anyway, Red. Red marks a transitional period in Taylor Swift's career. This was the point where not only could anything even remotely related to country be seen completely going away, this is also like right in between the point where her songs went from, oh wow, I'm so young, to I'm grown up and mature now. Red was kind of presented as her coming of age arc almost. And it was also the point where she went from a very well known but still relatively niche music star to one of the biggest stars in the business. I listened to it today and it was a little frustrating, I'm not gonna lie, because from a sonic standpoint, just from the way it sounds, this is the best album Taylor Swift has ever made. All of these songs sound great. It's kind of hard to pin down a genre overall for this album. I would probably say it's like power pop or like pop rock with heavy influence from country and folk. And it really makes me wish that Taylor Swift would do more songs where she does more rock influenced sounds because she's really good at it. So yeah, all the songs sound great. It's the lyrics that are the issue a lot of the time. This is best encapsulated in All Too Well, definitely the signature song of Red. When it comes to how it sounds, All Too Well is like an SS+++ tier pop song. Like when it comes to making power pop, they did everything right. But there is a huge catch. I remember seeing in an interview that Taylor Swift said that this was the hardest song that she ever had to write at that point. And I find that very interesting because these are some of the least polished lyrics you could get. There's like the bare bones of something truly amazing here. But it feels like they wrote it down and then just left it. First draft. The flow is clunky, the word choice is odd, and it really spends, I think, too much time leaning into that sort of dramatic selfishness most young people have, where everything is the most important thing that could have ever happened to anybody. In that regard, it's almost as bad as I Knew You Were Trouble. And that whole thing about how the lyrics having a lot of potential to be really, really good and just not feeling polished at all, that is an issue I have had with Taylor Swift's lyrics long after this album came out, and arguably even up to now. And I think it's most prevalent in All Too Well because the disparity between the lyrics and the composition is gigantic. And I think that All Too Well also kind of hits differently when you learn that it was written about her relationship with Jake Gyllenhaal that lasted like 3 months. You'd think that this was her boyfriend for like all of high school and college. I think other songs on this album, such as Holy Ground or I Almost Do, work better when it comes to reminiscing about this whirlwind romance. There are also the poppiest of pop songs on this album, all of which were released as singles, by the way, like We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together, 22, I Knew You Were Trouble. I unironically love the first 2 songs. I Knew You Were Trouble is more of a guilty pleasure because as good as it sounds, the lyrics are just awful. I could not possibly take seriously a song that says you never loved me or her or anyone or anything. Especially from someone who's not in like middle school. But We Are Never Getting Back Together and 22, I love both of those songs. Like they actually properly lean into the immaturity that Taylor Swift still had in her public persona at the time. One very interesting song on this album is Stay, Stay, Stay. That might actually be the worst song on this album. It is so saccharine and sugar sweet that it feels fake. It wants to be stuck like glue so badly, but I just can't buy it from Taylor Swift. Especially not when it comes right on the heels of We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together. And when it comes to my favorite song from Red, I'm gonna have to go with The Last Time. And it's not just because I do love me some Snow Patrol, but I think that The Last Time comes the closest to a song that sounds as good as All Too Well and also has a good set of lyrics. And when it comes to how this album stands, like, as a whole, compared to the other two albums I've listened to, 1989 and Folklore, I definitely thought it was better than 1989. Out of the Woods might still be my favorite Taylor Swift song, but overall, this is much more consistent in quality. I don't think it's quite as good as Folklore, because Folklore just felt more polished. Red had the potential to be Taylor Swift's best album, like by a landslide. But, as is often the case with Taylor Swift, her own talent was hindered by her getting in her own way. Or at least that's what it looks like to me. And I wouldn't be as hard on her as I am if I didn't know that Taylor Swift is a profoundly gifted songwriter. And especially considering what happened this very month, she's not going away anytime soon. Alright, thanks for listening. I'll see you tomorrow.